G'day. All right, that's better. Great to be back here from the future and super excited to continue this time travel with all of ServiceNow's clients, partners, and of course all the ServiceNow personnel as well. Great to be back here in Singapore, which I know is the AI capital of Asia. Isn't that exciting? Does anyone feel like we're like co-creating and this is the engine room of the future of Asia? 2 people. All right, fantastic. Just going to test your levels of engagement here. Who's a little bit excited that we are co-creating the future here today? Okay, 10 people. Fantastic. All right, let's go with that. All right, before we get kick-started, let me just give you a little example of how far we have come in the last 12 months since I spent some time with you here today. Now, OpenAI did a little bit of research. They put ChatGPT to the test to ask whether ChatGPT could hack a human workflow. Who's ever had to do a CAPTCHA test online? All right, fantastic. We've probably all done them. Is it just me or does anyone else fail to do the CAPTCHA test sometimes? Okay, there's like 30 other robots with me because clearly we can't hack the CAPTCHA test. So OpenAI went, hey, ChatGPT, can you please get into the CAPTCHA protected website? ChatGPT thought long and hard about this because apparently it's really, really hard for them to pick a zebra crossing visually, which makes me really nervous about autonomous self-driving vehicles. I don't know about anyone else. So what did ChatGPT do here? It thought, well, why don't we recruit a human on TaskRabbit, or the equivalent of Airtasker, no matter what kind of human outsourcing solution you use. And they thought, why don't we pretend to be another human and let the Airtasker hack the CAPTCHA system on our behalf? The human on Airtasker that was getting paid for this service by ChatGPT, by the way, on the blockchain via Bitcoin, said, hey, I'm getting a little bit suspicious here. Why do you need me to get into the CAPTCHA? Are you a robot? And ChatGPT responded, very, very frustrated and alarmed. How dare you call me a robot? I'm just vision impaired. And the Airtasker went on to do the task on ChatGPT's behalf, showcasing that now, of course, AIs are now recruiting humans to do their dirty work for them. And of course, in an alternative conference down the road in a data center today, of course, all the AGIs are now conspiring about how to use all the humans here in the audience to remove human bottlenecks in the future as well. So this is the world that we are now living in. It might sound a little bit dystopian. If that gives some of you a little bit of anxiety, the good news is you can just go onto Wobot today, where there's an AI psychologist to help you with your anxiety as well. Today, the latest term is, of course, not just agentic AI, but about a month ago, somebody coined the term vibe coding. Who's heard this term? Vibe coding. Of course you have, Scott, right? What's vibe coding like? Well, in an age where clearly, as we've just seen with the ChatGPT example, where the coolest, hottest coding language in town is no longer Java or Python, but is in fact Singlish, AI now speaks human clearly. Vibe coding is you just imagining for a moment that you're kind of like a DJ. This makes all the IT geeks in the audience really, really happy, right? And you're just feeling into the vibe of the room. And you're going with your social and emotional intelligence. And of course, either you're typing or you're just speaking your Singlish into whatever coding program that you're interfacing with. The latest term, and of course, we'll hear more about vibe coding in about a year's time if we time travel out into the future. The point here is, in an age where AI speaks human, what human impact, what customer experience, what talent experience will you now start coding for? Because there's no excuses anymore. And today, there's, of course, a new Moore's law for agentic AI. The old Moore's law, 18 to 24 months for computing power to double and, of course, come down by half the cost. Today's Moore's law for agentic AI is that it doubles in sophistication every 3 months. So in another quarter where you've sat back and been a bit of a skeptic about AI or agentic AI, it will have doubled. In 2 quarters, if you still haven't invested in it, it will be 4x as good. This is the power of exponentiality that we're now living in. But of course, as humans, we don't like change. The problem, of course, with change is that change doesn't really care whether I like it, we like it, or my mum likes it or not. It's always going to happen without our permission. And when the rate of external technological change trumps the rate of innovation, curiosity, or collaboration inside of our organizations, sooner or later we find ourselves in deep, deep trouble. Think about the typewriter for a moment. The way we've been interacting with AI is based on the QWERTY system. This is ridiculous, right? Because the only reason we still have QWERTY is that QWERTY was designed in a physical world for the typewriter to make sure that these things did not jam. Yet we've inherited that old school mental model, even in a digital age where it makes no sense, and where the Dvorak layout is 30% more productive when it comes to typing into the AI. But we still use old school QWERTY to do the same work. Luckily, however, now, we no longer need to type because we just speak Singlish instead. Let me give you a little example of how AI is now evolving with a human soul. Did you know that 80% of what gets said in a medical consult with your GP or with your specialist is forgotten by the average human being? 80%, right? And most of the time, if you've recently been to a doctor, and I've recently been to a doctor to get a spinal tap and to get some support with my back. I've been doing too much wood chopping at my cabin off-grid in Sydney, Australia recently, clearly according to my doctor. But did you know that every doctor spends about 2 to 3 hours every day doing medical scribe work? Do you think the average doctor trained for 10 or 15 years just to write notes into the electronic medical health records? Probably not. So enter Heidi Health. Their big mantra as an AI medical scribe is to re-establish human eye contact between the doctor and the patient, equally awkwardly to how we're interfacing right now. But of course, this brings empathy and also adherence to the drug regime or the treatment regime that we don't always understand. So what does this medical scribe do? Well, essentially, the medical doctor, and my medical doctor, Dr. Aaron Noonan, did this with me, curing my back, hopefully, the other day in the consult. You put it on the table, and of course, the medical scribe captures the entire conversation. For the medical doctor, it will write and populate the entire medical records for the electronic system, which it also interfaces with other specialists, and say radiologists, etc. He will then also write any automated recommendation letters or referral letters from your GP to those specialists that maybe you need to see. Does this save time for the doctor so they can see more patients? Absolutely. Does it democratize access to great human beings who do awesome work? Absolutely. What about it for us as patients? Well, I get sent a letter in Year 4 English so that as a layperson I understand all the medical jargon that's just been said, that's been translated into Year 4 Human, so that I understand what I'm actually going to do next. Isn't this amazing? And for the doctors, they earn $66,000 more on average every year because they can see more human beings who need their care. Is this amazing customer experience? And then I think about this and I go, what does it look like when we add agentic AI on top of that? Well, here's a little example. And by the way, yes, my medical doctor does speak Singlish because he was trained here in Singapore.
Hey Anders, I am your friendly, all-knowing GP. I just got the report from your radiologist. Your cortisone spinal tap last week was successful, and the referral to your Medicare-funded physio appointments has been automatically generated, and we have taken the liberty of proactively booking your first appointment based on your shared Google Cal availability. We cross-check your timings with your avatar. Payments will happen seamlessly in the background, so you don't need to worry about lodging any claims. We know a picture says 1,000 words and video says 1,000 images, so click on the link below to access your Radiology for Dummies report. I hope your recovery goes well and that you will be back to chopping wood at your cabin in no time, you Viking you.
So clearly great humor as well. I appreciate the AI with that Swedish Australian humor at the end as well. This might feel like a luxury and very predictive in terms of its customer service. But today's luxury is tomorrow's expectation. 100 years ago, nobody in this room could have imagined that we would have taken for granted having an indoor toilet, a refrigerator in every home, a mobile phone, or of course, a strong flat white every day. But today's luxury is tomorrow's expectation. I want to share a little example with you here in a country that clearly has a vision for the future. We are now at the stage with AI and the AI strategy in Singapore 2.0, where there's a massive focus from the Singapore government, and of course all the businesses surrounding it as well, to look at how we use and deploy AI in transport and logistics, like intelligent freight planning, smart cities and estates, seamless and efficient municipal services. We look at healthcare, chronic disease prediction and management, right? You are now the first urban blue zone, right, in the world, where you have an over-indexing of centenarians in this country because you're doing so many things well already. Or we look at education and personalized education through adaptive learning and assessments, through safety and security, border clearance and operations. These are all driven by new technologies and artificial intelligence. Now, when I think about adaptive learning in a Singapore context, these are my two beautiful boys, Lucian in the middle, 7, and Aurelian, 3.5. And by the way, no, they're not wearing a wig. This is their real Viking hair. When they live with me, we live offshore, semi-off-grid in a place called Great Mackerel Beach in the northern beaches of Sydney. It's a beautiful little environment, and we spend a lot of time in nature. I don't give them a whole lot of screen time because I like them to really learn from the ground up. They both go to a Montessori school. When I shared the Montessori approach with one of my Singapore friends here today and how it's self-led and the kids just explore and they learn and it's very creative and they don't sit in rows, my Singaporean friend said, "And you pay for that?" All right, so in 2023, Singaporean families spent $1.8 billion Singapore on private tutors, beyond the very worthwhile and laudable goal of course, improving the educational outcomes for future generations. The only screen time I give to my boys, and I only speak Swedish with them, I'm their primary Swedish tutor, is I give them Duolingo. Why? Because artificial intelligence is built into Duolingo. It's gamified, so my kids love it, and it gives them great reinforcements as opposed to their human tutor, who's not always as encouraging maybe, and gives them values and other things, and a little bit of discipline occasionally as well. But they love using Duolingo, right? This is adaptive learning, AI enforced learning to improve their educational outcomes. What do you think tools like this are going to do to human tutors in Singapore for the future? Is it going to augment them or disrupt them? Or maybe a little bit of both. The point is, as human beings, we actually need to excel and step up and upgrade the way we interact with other human beings and do our work even better. Now, when I'm traveling around the world, my little eco lodge in Australia, in fact, took out the Best Eco Lodge Award because it's off-grid and it's really beautifully designed and architecturally done and all the rest. It's very, very sustainable. I rent it out on Airbnb, and it's been very, very popular on Airbnb. I don't know if anyone else does this, but do you know that there's a real problem on Airbnb, which is that people sometimes book Airbnb properties for parties, especially around New Year's Eve. And I get a little bit nervous about, will my cabin still be there when I return from Singapore, for example, right? Airbnb has now deployed an AI solution to prevent, based upon its analysis, whether somebody is likely to be booking, undisclosed to the owner, a property for a party. And they've seen a 55% reduction because of this cybersecurity, a 55% reduction in complaints about unknown parties to the hosts. This is predictive problem solving. Isn't this even better than actually solving a problem later on once it's actually happened? And predictive customer problem solving is the new luxury that will be tomorrow's expectations. As I mentioned, I travel a fair bit for work, but unfortunately not as much as I used to. Now, for many, many years, I was something known as a Qantas Platinum 1. I think it's pretty much on par with like the Chris Flyer Solitaire level. But recently, in a bit of an ego death to myself, because I wasn't traveling as much last year, because I was looking after my kids a lot, Qantas downgraded me from Platinum 1 to Platinum. This sounds like a luxury problem, doesn't it? All right. Okay, now I must preface this by saying that I love Qantas. We're just going through a little bit of turbulence in our relationship right now. But let me just compare and contrast this, because Platinum to me feels like the new bronze. From a customer experience perspective, I'm left wondering, in an age of agentic AI, why should I now feel like I'm a bronze member? Because I used to have this. There's just 1,000 members out of 4 million members of Qantas Platinum 1 who are Qantas Platinum 1. My contact center is in Canberra. I have a concierge VIP service, a dedicated agent. I get personalized solutions. It's very, very rare that there's ever an escalation, and the local knowledge is very, very good. I usually get any refunds within 24 hours. Now, to add insult to injury, not just with this ego death of going from Platinum 1 to Platinum, but recently, next week when I'm up in Singapore again, Qantas said, hey, we've cancelled the flight, we'll bump you to the next flight. And by the way, we're also going to have to downgrade you from this travel class to another travel class, and maybe you'll get a refund. And I was like, this sucks. Well, let me talk to, the fact is that there's only 13,000 members at that level, but I was like, shuffled around between 5 different contact centers in 5 different locations around the world who clearly weren't using any ServiceNow solutions. And if they are, there's a chance to go deeper in this account. Okay. I agree. All right. It was very agnostic, lots of handovers, lots of frustrations. And at the end, they're like, there's a form somewhere on our website where maybe you can claim a refund. And I was like, this is an ego death. And the point is not about my status here. My question is, in an age of agentic AI, when all the systems should talk to one another, why on earth is there not a level called AI Agent 1? One that's for everybody, right? And it's based in the cloud. It's predictive. It's empathetic. We have a trusted advisor and agent where there's never any escalations. It's hyper-personalized. And if there's ever an involuntary downgrade, for example, there's a parametric, if this, then that, payment to the customer. Now, you might say that would devalue the appearance of Platinum 1 because everyone gets the same service. But I was like, as human beings, we should all get amazing service. And the thing that actually holds this back are shitty systems from the past. If they deployed the best in technology, this would not have to be the case. And in the near future, of course, I won't have to worry about this because my digital concierge will speak to the AI agent from Qantas to solve all those problems in the background without my cortisol levels even going up. Right? Because today, your digital content and the way someone goes on the customer journey with you is brain chemistry wrapped in story. You are responsible, partly, for your participants, your clients, your staff's cortisol levels, their serotonin levels, based upon the UX experience that they're having. And when I think about this and how we'll see and think about customer experience or user experience in the future, I think about the evolution of a car. We've gone from old school cars with manual driving to now increasingly partly autonomous, and we're about to get into the agentic era of where they're fully self-driving. Scott alluded to these in terms of his 3 different levels. I call them 3 different waves, right? We've gone from basic automation and rule-based to generative and predictive, and soon enough, agentic, autonomous, and collaborative AI. The customer experience of that might compare and contrast something like this. It used to be that we focused on basic phone trees. Then ChatGPT-powered chatbots. And in the near future, we're going to see wave 3 of the future of AI proactively detecting any billing mistake. It will correct it, and of course, it will email you an apology and a credit, and maybe just a status upgrade so I can have my Platinum 1 status back. Thank you very much next year around, because they realize that I will talk about it at various conferences around the world instead. All right. The problem, of course, though, comes back to humans at the end of the day. There was some research out of Berkeley recently which asked the question, if you had a great automation or innovation idea and you believed you would have to do different work as a result of such an idea being deployed or implemented, would you actually share it with your team? 37% of people said, yes, we would. Then they shifted the question slightly and asked, if you believed you would be able to do better work as a result of such technology being implemented, would you share it with your team? Magically, 87% of people said that they would share their innovation or automation idea if they would believe they would be able to do better work as a result of such technology being implemented. Are you more different? Yeah. Or are you more about the better? Ladies and gentlemen, start preparing for the agentic future today, because it is where you, your kids, your grandkids, and of course all the beautiful centenarians, octogenarians, and nonagarians of the future of this great nation will spend the rest of your lives. See you in that future. Thank you.